Welcome. This is Speaking of Settlements. I'm Scott Drake, and my guest is Marvin Smith with Summit Settlements in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. Marvin, it's a pleasure to meet you. Welcome.
Nice to meet you. Good to be here.
So let's talk about your practice to begin. You're one of the few who have been practicing and working with structured settlements since they really began back in the 70s.
I did. I started in the claim business with Aetna Life and Casualty in 1972. And shortly thereafter, we were asked to attend a seminar in Helena, Montana, which was the state capital. We were located in Great Falls. And Hartford presented a new product that they were using, that they were introducing to the claims business, to the casualty claims business. And my company asked that all of us go attend that meeting in Helena, so we did. Well, soon thereafter, my company, Aetna, came back to all of the claims people and said, you now have a requirement as part of your annual performance bonus that you'll be required to do, I can't remember at this time, but either 1 or 2 structured settlements annually. And so that's how I was introduced to structured settlements, was in the claim department and basically being asked to do 1 or 2 a year to see if it would help settle some of our more difficult cases.
Marvin, for those who are watching and may not be familiar with the product as you are, can you talk about what exactly a structured settlement is?
You know, from a claim standpoint, from a claim representative standpoint or a defense standpoint, usually they're looking at a structured settlement in a difficult case that they may not be able to get the case settled without using a structured settlement for the simple reason that they have offered to pay the injured party X, and the injured party and usually their attorney wants Y, and the gap between X and Y is so great that oftentimes the case will end up going to trial rather than settling. So from a defense standpoint, they thought, well, if we could show people that they could receive sometimes more money than they're even asking for, either through their claim or through a lawsuit, but that money will be paid over time rather than in a lump sum. And if we could also show them that money that they're going to receive is still going to be tax-free, just as their settlement would be in a claim situation, that it might facilitate getting the case resolved because they're going to get more money, it's still going to be tax-free, and it's going to be guaranteed by a major life insurance company. So from a defense standpoint, that is a definite advantage. It will help you get some cases settled that maybe wouldn't have settled otherwise. From the plaintiff standpoint, the tax-free issue normally is the big carrot. The fact that the money is going to come tax-free, and their attorney usually likes the fact that once the settlement is set up, it can't be changed. So if they have some people that maybe are mentally challenged or even physically challenged, or in some way might be taken advantage of by another party, whatever you set up in a structured settlement is cast in stone. All of the financial planning has to be done up front, and once it's done, it can't be changed. And could modify that. It can be changed now under some circumstances, but back in the old days, it couldn't be changed. And so the plaintiff attorney knew that whatever we set up, whatever he did in conjunction with the defense for the benefit of his client, it was going to pay them. They were going to be totally protected. They didn't have to worry about the money being dissipated and his client being back on public assistance.
All right, Marvin, you also have experience not only in litigation, but with insurance and financial services.
Yes, and coming from a claim background, being an insurance adjuster and then a claim supervisor, ultimately regional claim supervisor, most of my experience was with defense attorneys and making structured settlement proposals with defense attorneys. I ultimately got into the structured settlement business in terms of providing structured settlement annuities because my company that I worked for, Aetna Life and Casualty, had their own division that was a structured settlement division. And they had an open posting, and it looked like something that would be interesting. Looked like I could get away kind of from the claim department, do something totally different, but still remain with Aetna Life and Casualty, keep all of my benefits in place, and kind of move in a different career path. So I started doing structured settlements, but I was still working basically with the same old Aetna defense attorneys that I had worked with previously. In dealing with those attorneys, I got into literally hundreds of mediations, and was introduced to a lot of plaintiff attorneys, and then had some of those plaintiff attorneys come back to me later and say, hey, look, you were introduced to us from the defense side, but we've got a case now. Is it possible that you can help us with our case from the plaintiff side? And I said, sure, I can work either way. It makes no difference. I'm just here to help the injured parties. So that's kind of how I got into working with both plaintiff and defense attorneys.
Once again, my guest has been Marvin Smith of Summit Settlements in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. And you're watching Speaking of Settlements.